You can love someone and still need to walk away. Living with an addict changes everything. Their moods, your trust, your peace, your safety, your sanity. I know because I've been there. I thought that staying meant supporting him through his recovery, but it almost cost me my own. So we're going to talk about a hard subject today. We're going to talk about what it's like to be married to an addict and when it's time to go. And also how leaving does not mean giving up. My name is Tracy. I am a licensed therapist and an individual in long-term recovery, and I am here to share my stories and tips to help you build a happy and successful life after addiction. If you would like to check me out on any other platforms, I would greatly appreciate it. I would greatly appreciate likes, shares, comments, subscribes, follows, all the things. I have so many dreams, so many things that I want to do with this channel and with my time to help other people. And the more that you support this channel, the more that I can do that, and the more that we can all continue to recover out loud and normalize being a human being. And that is my goal in this, is to let everyone know that you are not alone and you are capable of building a happy life no matter what your past holds. Okay, so this video is for anyone who has been married to or even just loved someone who was struggling with addiction. I'm going to share what I learned through my experience as both a partner, a professional, and an individual in recovery, and what I wish that I had realized sooner. If you are healing from addiction or codependency, you are not alone. Please subscribe. I have tons and tons of content on this, and I would love for this to be a solid support community for everyone. Okay, so let's get into it and talk about what it's like to live with an addict. When you live with an addict, you watch someone you love change into a completely different person right in front of your eyes. I truly believe that it is one of the hardest things that we can face as a human being. It is almost as painful as a death, because it is a death in a way. You are grieving who that person used to be. Addiction does not just destroy the people that are using. It takes the whole family down with it. So let me start by sharing just a little bit of my story. You guys already know that I am a recovering addict myself, and I have been clean for over 10 years from a pretty vicious heroin addiction. I am also a licensed therapist, and I work in the mental health field. But to give me the full rounded experience with addiction, I also spent 6 years married to an addict. Drug of choice was fentanyl and meth. Coke, all of the above. I watched as this person that I had known for years and this person that I loved slowly changed and shift from being a loving dad and husband to a cold, heartless person with no love in their eyes. Myself, the kids, we no longer mattered. There was only one thing that mattered, and that was the drug. And as the person that you love slowly starts to disappear before your eyes, at first, there's some glimmers of hope, right? There's some random I'm sorry's. There's some random I know that this is a problem. I want to fix it. But after a while, those sorries stop coming, and it takes them over completely. The lying, the coldness, looking into their eyes and seeing emptiness, the person that you love, they're not there. That breaks something inside of you. And they gaslight you, and you start wondering, am I crazy? Am I overreacting? But guess what? You're not. You're not overreacting. It's very interesting and karmatic. I don't know if that's a word, in a way, to find yourself on the other side of the lens after being an addict yourself. It definitely gave me a whole different perspective on what I put my family through. If you are in this situation and you yourself are in recovery, a relationship like this can threaten everything that you have worked so hard to build. I thought that staying meant loyalty, leaving meant abandonment. But in reality, staying means abandoning yourself and your children. My sobriety, my peace, my finances, my kids' well being, and even my safety at times was all at risk because I confused compassion with responsibility. But how do you know when it's time to leave? And how do you give up on someone that is struggling with something that you yourself have struggled with? Now, I'm going to be direct here because this answer is much simpler than it seems. If your physical, emotional, or financial stability is at risk, you need to take control of the situation. If you are constantly anxious, depressed, unsafe, or it's impacting your children, you need to take control of the situation. But let me be clear also about something. Taking control of the situation or separating yourselves physically does not mean that you've stopped caring. It means that you're choosing survival. And for the record, you do not need permission from me or anyone else to leave a relationship that you are not happy in. But just in case you feel like you do, here it is. If you are living with someone who is threatening your peace, your safety, your well-being, you have permission to leave. It's as simple as that. If your home is no longer a safe and comfortable and loving space, you have permission. So, I mean, really, let's just look realistically for a minute at the pros and cons of staying in a situation like this. I had a lot of different reasons why I stayed, and I've learned that people have a whole variety of reasons as to why they stay. They don't want to give up on someone that they love. They don't want to give up on someone. They feel like it is their duty to help someone through something that they have been through themselves. You don't want to hurt the children. You don't want to make their addiction worse. You are married. You took a vow. For better or for worse, you want to help them through this. And I understand wholeheartedly all of those reasons. I have felt all of those reasons. But here's what you have to understand, and this is what I had to learn over years of living with this. It is not your responsibility to keep their addiction in check. I felt that I had a duty to stay because I'm a therapist, because I've been through this myself, because we're married and I promise for better or for worse. But here's what else marriage means. Here's what else loving someone means. Loving someone is wanting the best for them. Loving someone is doing what it takes to help them get their life on track, even if it's hard. Allowing someone to continue using without consequences, that's not loving them. And that's the thing. Most people don't truly love somebody enough to do what's right for them because it's too hard, because it hurts. And that's something that I did not realize until it was too late, until this situation had done too much damage. I was quite literally diagnosed with CPTSD from these years in addiction. And I'm still struggling to heal that. Not gonna lie, still struggling to heal that. I did not realize until it was too late that allowing them to continue to use without consequences is enabling. They get high, they get to keep their home, they get to keep their family. Why would they stop? Honestly, why? They have no reason to. They're getting everything that they want. They're getting the best of both worlds. But letting someone face the consequences of their actions for their own higher good, that takes strength. A lot of strength. Strength that I did not have for a long time. Strength that it took me years to build up. But without that, they have no reason to change, and you know it. But let's also take a minute to remember that their well-being is not the only one that matters here. Yours matters too. Your children's well-being matters too. And if you are in recovery yourself, your recovery matters too, equally. And as much as you love someone and want to be there for them, you can't be there for them if you go down too. You have to stay clean and healthy and well for yourself, for your recovery, for your children, and for your spouse or partner or loved one, because you can't help them if you're a goner too. Now, if you're lucky, Your absence will be the wake-up call that they needed. For a lot of us, we're not so lucky, and it's not the wake-up call that we were hoping for. But the thing is you can't control that. You can't control how someone else decides to respond. But what you can do is still continue to support them while setting boundaries and choosing your survival. A temporary physical separation and a divorce are two totally different things. You can love someone and still need to love them from a distance. And leaving is honestly the most loving thing that you can do for yourself and for them. You can absolutely still support their recovery while respecting your boundaries. You can say that you're not going to tolerate addiction in your household around your children. You're not going to put your own recovery at risk. But whenever you're ready to get help, baby, I am there for you. And trust me, I know how hard that is. I know how hard it is to leave them to their own devices. Obviously, any kind of depression or hardship tends to make addiction worse. So knowing that leaving them, separating from them, not leaving them, separating from them, could make their addiction worse, holds you back all the more. The thoughts of the negative outcomes and the things that could potentially happen are terrifying. It feels like your heart is literally being ripped out of your chest, like you lost it. You don't know where it is, but you know that something bad is happening to it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't. And sometimes it doesn't feel right. But protecting yourself and your recovery and your kids is never wrong. And if you need to remind yourself of that 20 freaking times a day during this process, then that's what you've got to do. So how do you get through this? How do you get through this heartbreaking stage of letting them go and praying that they decide to turn things around? Well, baby, you do what I said and you remind yourself 20 times a day that you didn't have a choice, that you had to protect your children, you had to protect yourself and your recovery, and that's all there is to it. There's no gray area here. You had to do that. You also need to get support for yourself, whether that is family that understands, friends who understand, Al-Anon meetings, online support communities, a therapist, whatever. Find somebody who is not biased that you can talk to about this. Keep yourself busy and continue to let your loved one know that you are there for them. You're not leaving them. You're still there. And the second they decide to get help, you are all about it. You can help them get into treatment if they decide to do that. But remember, that might not happen right away. Everybody has to reach this point in their own time, and you cannot force that upon anybody. And you know that, especially if you've been there yourself, you know that. But at least you can rest easy at night knowing that you have done absolutely everything you can to help them. And a word to the wise, which I probably don't have to tell you, but it's something that I needed a reminder of. Now is not the time to trust words, all right? You already know. Words and promises will be coming at you left and right. But this is not the time to trust words. This is the time to trust actions and actions only. Sometimes you have to be patient, and that's okay. Sometimes you have to be okay with being alone for a while. You have to accept that you have done your part. You have done everything you can, and now the ball is in their court. It is up to them. And when you get to that point, you work on you work on healing yourself, and all the rest will fall into place. And what's meant to be will be. I firmly believe that, and I hope that you do too. We can't always see the way out. We can't always see how this is going to turn into a good thing down the road. But almost always, everything falls into place exactly as it is supposed to. And almost always, that works out in your favor if you're doing the right things. Honestly, looking back now on this situation, my only regret is that I didn't separate myself sooner. If I had, maybe he would have gotten clean a lot sooner. Guilt and fear had me chained way longer than it should have. Please do not let that be you. I waited until I was broken to choose myself, and that move cost me a lot. So if you are in this situation, please remember that you matter. Your needs matter. Your recovery matters. Your kids matter. You are allowed to separate yourself from the addiction. You are allowed to keep yourself safe and happy. You are allowed to heal. And the rest is 100% on them. If you need help with a situation like this, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, reach out to a therapist, reach out to anybody. If you know someone in this situation, please share this with them. Let them know that they're not alone. Let them know that they can do this. And let them know that you can separate yourself from the addiction without giving up on the person that you love. And for the record, my husband actually completed a full treatment program a while back. All the phases. He is firmly planted in sobriety. He works full time. He takes care of us, and he does the things that I always hoped that he would do. And it's kind of freaking amazing. And I know that if we can get there, then you can too. I just want you to know going into it that it's not an easy process, but nothing in life worth having is easy. Ever. Thank you guys so much for listening, for being here. I hope that this was helpful to you. Like I said, if you are in this space, please don't hesitate to reach out. I will support you in whatever way that I can. I will help connect you to resources in your local area that can support you better. And we'll do what we got to do to get everybody going strong up in here. I hope you guys had a happy Halloween, and I will see you next week.